He wasn't the very first soldier to step foot inside Berlin, but he was undeniably the man who paved the way there.
One of the very few commanders Hitler genuinely feared, the General Stalin trusted above all others.
And according to many historians, the man who single-handedly reshaped the entire outcome of World War II. His name was Georgy Zhukov. By 1945, the end of the war was finally in sight, but one massive, terrifying obstacle remained: Berlin, the beating heart of Nazi Germany and Hitler's final fortress. Everyone knew that if Berlin fell, the war would end, but reaching it would require marching through a living hell. The Germans were prepared to fight to the absolute bitter end, transforming every single street into a lethal combat zone. That's when the Soviet Union's most ruthless mastermind took total control. Zhukov's journey began long before Berlin. Born into a dirt-poor peasant family, no one could have imagined he would one day command the largest army on earth. He rose through the ranks on pure discipline and unyielding determination. But what made him a legend wasn't his rank. It was his uncanny ability to save the world from the brink of total collapse.
When Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union in 1941, the German war machine seemed entirely unstoppable. Cities fell like dominoes, millions fled, and the world believed the Soviets were finished.
In those darkest hours, Stalin turned to one man, Zhukov, sent to defend Moscow. Zhukov flatly refused to retreat.
He rebuilt the defensive lines from scratch, mobilized the troops, and completely shattered the German advance.
It was the first massive turning point of the war. Then came Stalingrad, then Kursk. Every historic victory bore Zhukov's signature. By the spring of 1945, the Soviet army had pushed deep into Germany. Berchtesgaden was finally within reach, setting the stage for the Berlin Operation, one of the largest and most brutal military campaigns in human history. Millions of soldiers, thousands of tanks, and one ultimate target.
On the morning of April 16, the sky ignited with catastrophic artillery fire. The ground shook.
Yet the Germans fought desperately for every bridge, every building, and every single alleyway. Casualties skyrocketed, and the advance slowed down. But Zhukov refused to back under pressure.
He knew that every extra day Berlin held out meant thousands more would die. After days of savage street-to-street fighting, Soviet troops pushed into the city center.
Tanks navigated through ruined, narrow avenues while snipers fired from crumbling buildings.
Deep beneath the surface in his bunker, Hitler was living his final days.
On May 2, 1945, the Soviet flag was raised over the Reichstag.
Berlin had officially fallen, and days later, Germany surrendered. History heavily agrees that Georgy Zhukov was the chief architect of this victory. His unforgiving strategies and bold leadership accelerated the end of Nazi Germany. Today, military academies still study his tactics. Some view him as the greatest general in history,
while others argue that his victories came at a devastating cost in human lives. So, what do you think?
Was Zhukov truly a military genius, or did he simply win because he had an overwhelming number of troops at his disposal?
Let's spark a massive debate in the comments below. I want to see your takes.
If you love discovering the brutal strategies and leaders that changed human history,
make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.